Hi again everybody, welcome to my latest video. Well, in this one I am going to do some work with this Hantek PC-based oscilloscope device. It comes with 2 channels, and a PC oscilloscope is very similar to a regular oscilloscope that you would buy for doing regular lab experiments with. It allows you to actually look at the digital and analog signals that a particular circuit or device produces. And I'm going to be using this in future videos, including at some point going back to that power supply, 650 watt power supply that I got, that I tried to return to Corsair, but they wouldn't accept it. And I want to prove, at least to you and myself, that there is ripple on that power supply output that was leading to the noise that I'm getting. Now, this device, I'm going to go over its initial software installation, setup, testing it, and then finally doing some calibration of the probes. It comes with 2 real oscilloscope probes, and those of you who ever worked with an oscilloscope, whether it was in school or at work, these 2 probes are moderate end. They're not high end. They're probably cost about, I don't know, $20 a piece if you were trying to buy them. The whole device, by the way, only cost me $75. And if you go down in the notes below, you'll see I have the link to where you could purchase it if you're interested in it after you see what I do. It also has the connector for the USB. It has a USB Type B connector that connects up to the device itself back here. And it has 2 Type A connectors, a black one and a red one, that go to your PC. So it will use 2 USB Type 2 connectors to work. One of them provides the data, and one of them provides extra power. So each one of these will supply half of the 5 volts to the unit itself, and that's what will power it. It has no batteries or any sort of plug to it at all. So let's go ahead and set this up and see how it works. Now, the installation of the software is not trivial, so I'm going to spend some time showing that. Then we'll set it up, and I'll test it and calibrate it. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing you need to do to get this Hantek PC-based oscilloscope operational is to install the software. Now, it does come with a CD, a mini one, but a lot of people these days do not have a reader for that. So let's go to the website, which can be found at this location, www.hantek.com/download. And then here you pick the actual device category, which is a PC-based USB oscilloscope. And then you also have to pick the products. In my case, the Hantek 6022BL. And what we have here is it immediately went to the user manual, which shows both the driver and the manual itself. If you look under driver, the driver is not there. It's under user manual. So the first thing you want to download is the driver. So we hit that. It is downloaded. It's very small. And then we want to go to the application software. And this is actually a copy of the CD. However, even though it has a copy of the driver on it, that's an older version. That's why I loaded the driver as well. But let's download this. This will take a little bit longer. And now it's fully downloaded. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to open it up as a file folder. That way I have access to both of the files here. As you can see, we have the actual software zip file, which you use regular zip to unzip. However, the driver is listed as a .rar, R-A-R. But let me copy both of them over to a local directory to start. And I will now copy over both of those files to it from the download. Don't try to use them from within the download because they can easily get deleted there. So I will copy, although I have 2 copies of the driver, I will copy the original one, and I'll copy over the actual software. So now that we have those, I'm going to have to expand them. Now the one that is the .zip, that's easy. Windows 10 handles that. Right-click on it and say just extract all. It defaults to the same directory and say extract. And now that's a copy of the actual software that came on the little disk. However, to unzip the RAR file, you right-click on it, you're going to need to load something like 7-zip because the normal Windows 10 or 11 does not automatically have the capability of extracting those files. But I have 7-zip loaded on this PC. So I right-click and I pick 7-zip and I say extract files. Again, it's going to default to this same directory. I'll say OK to that. And now we have a subdirectory that's called the driver. That's a later version that was on the actual disk that came, at least with mine. So it may be the same for yours as well. So I always like to get the latest software anyway. The 2 zip files, we can get rid of those right now. We don't need those anymore because they've been extracted. I always like to get them out of the way, save disk, and just prevent confusion later on. Now to install the software, make sure that the device is not plugged in to the USB. It has to be disconnected from it from using that USB Type B connector. And then click on the HT6022BL software, and let's click on Setup. Of course, it's going to use administrative, and now it's initializing. And we just basically take all the defaults to this. It's a fast install, and we finish it up. Now it says the wizard helps you install the software drivers that some computer devices need in order to work. Let's try that. And it found a driver. Let's say finish. And now we should be installed. We double check that by going after we plug it in to see if it actually has the driver installed or not. Make sure that the button is pushed in. If it's pushed out, it will not use the USB version of the drivers for that. Let me connect up the device to the USB. Make sure that both of the USB connectors are connected, and then connect the actual USB Type B to the device itself. Let's go ahead and say this PC, right click on it. Let's do manage, and then device manager. And do we have any devices here that look like they're not installed properly? In this particular case, we don't. So the device hopefully is fully installed at this point. And you could tell that by not seeing any of the question marks on any of those devices. If you had one that was not installed properly, you would have a little yellow question mark next to it. Now there is one here called security devices, and that one is not fully installed because we don't have a TPM, but that's not anything for this device here. Okay, so let's close this. Now let's run the Hantek software. It's going to run as administrator. It opens up this little window all the way in the upper right-hand corner. Now there are 2 different applications here. The second one that says Hantek 6022BL that shows these little graphs on it, well, that's not what we want. That is the one that actually enables the data analyzer with up to 16 connections to a device that you want to compare various digital signals. The one we want is the first one, Hantek 6022. And it looks like it's up. I have 2 lines drawn here. Let's connect up one of the lines to my signal generator that I have here. I always like to take the one that has the yellow adapter, which is connected to the first port on the scope. Make sure you connect it up to both the ground and the signal area. So I will pick one. And there we go. I went ahead and picked the one that had the sine wave on it. If I connect the second probe, the one that I currently have with the green connected to it, and I'll connect that one up to the same signal generator, but this is the digital output. Let's see what we get. We get the digital output, so it works. Now in the instructions, they tell you how to adjust the probes, basically compensating for any stray magnetism or inductance or capacitance. If you follow these instructions here, you will then see this. And as you can see, if you look at the instructions, that means that I am not properly compensated. So I will take a non-magnetic screwdriver, put it into the little adjuster at the top of the probe, in the center of the probe actually, and I will tweak that until it comes down to as square as possible. Do each probe independently. So this is the yellow one. Do the second one as well for the green one when it's connected up into its appropriate BNC connector. And then we're all set to go. So now the scope is actually usable in doing testing and measuring of whatever you want to use it for. In a follow-up video, I may go ahead and show you some of that. If you're interested, put a comment down below. Thanks for watching.